Hey everybody, welcome back to another special episode of the Drunkencryptids. This is our yearly silent battle show that we're going to do. So we're going to skip a lot of the preliminary stuff that we normally do, and we're probably just going to jump right into the heart of it. But of course, we do got to say thanks to our friends out there, blademedia.com. Thanks, Dylan, for the website and the logo, which is gorgeous. I appreciate it, Dylan. And of course, we are going to be at the Ada, Ohio Bigfoot Jamboree 2 in October, on October 4th. We're going to be at the Arkansas Paranormal Expo as well on October 26th and 27th, I believe. If not, Tommy will have the dates posted up on the screen. Sorry, Tommy. Let's see here. And of course, I do got to give a special shout out to my special guest that I have. And of course, all of our friends out there into the podcast world and all of our listeners. We do have a Patreon set up, and we also have a Buy Me a Coffee. So please feel free, if any of those options help you on out, appreciate it. Please like, continue to share, all that fun stuff.
He never drinks coffee.
I always drink coffee.
I know.
Okay.
Sarcastic.
Man, I'm always on coffee. I mean, coffee is like my drink. But before we get going any further, guys, let me bring on my special guest. So I have two special guests I'm bringing on tonight. So I'll start with my first one. This is Michael. So Michael, want everybody just full name and all stuff?
Yeah, my name is Michael Springer.
All right, and so Michael, you guys, he is with the Arkansas. We are the 22 in Arkansas. I said that right? Okay. So to my left is the lovely Miss Nicole. This is producer Tommy's lovely significant other,
Yes.
and we're going to dig into a very serious topic. So real quick. So I'll turn it back over to Michael real quick. So Michael, I'll let you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and what the 22 is about, and then I'll turn it over and let you just kind of say hi, who you are, stuff like that. Because everybody knows Tommy, but
Right.
nobody knows Nicole, boss lady.
Stay in the shadows.
Just stay, yeah, okay. So Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, so like I said, my name is Michael Springer. I'm a combat vet. Went to Iraq in 2004 and came home. Had a lot of traumatic events happen. Had some guys get killed in combat. Had a lot of survivor's guilt once I returned. I think the wisest word I ever heard was come from my father. It said, you're going to go to war, you're going to come back, you're going to think everybody changed. But in reality, it's going to be you that changed. And that was never really sank in until I came home and took that in. So I got hit back to the person I was before Iraq, but I had no idea who that person was anymore. Trying to get back to going to work every day, coming home to a woman, paying your bills on time. I just didn't know who that person was. So the Army's really good at training us for war, and they're not really good about training us when we come home.
That's a fact.
And so once that switch gets turned on, it's really hard to just turn it off. And so I came back lost, and the more I tried to get back to the person I was before combat, the more lost I got. And I had to come to the realization that I was chasing a ghost. That person's no longer there. And I had to come to that realization and understand that. So I got bad in addiction, meth addiction. Ended up for the next 16 and a half years of my life was straight on methamphetamines. And, it worked at first, whatever it is that makes you want to get high or drink, whatever that case is, desensitized all my emotions, didn't sleep, I didn't have to worry about nightmares. All the traps that initially get you drawn into that, then it just turned to a curse. And once you're in there, it's too hard to get out. And ended up doing 3 trips to prison before I finally pulled my head out of my butt and got right with the things I needed to be doing. And the last time I got out, I had a buddy of mine named Michael Brooks. He's the founder of We Are the 22. And what the problem was is I lost my mission and purpose. That was what it was. That was my mission and purpose. The camaraderie, everything you got about the military. As bad as you hate it while you're in, it sucked. As soon as you get out, you miss it. And I lost my mission and purpose. I was sent home from combat before the rest of my guys did because my wife had abandoned my child. So I was coming back to a messed up situation. And I'd much rather been in a firefight than deal with the crap I had to deal with when I came home.
I relate.
So I left my son with the grandparents who were watching, and then that's when everything went downhill for me. But so Michael Brooks, the founder of We Are 22, both of us served in combat together. He did another tour after we come home, and that tour, that's when he got hit with an IED and got a traumatic brain injury, and it shattered his hip and a lot of other stuff. And so they sent him to Fort Sam. Like I said, he was devastated. He wanted to be a full-time career soldier, and he got medically retired, which really just kind of depressing. If what are you going to do with your life? What do we do from here? And they've been pumping him full of so much opiates, trying to get over this problem. So when they sent him back home to Arkansas, they pulled the opiates off, and that immediately turned to illicit street drugs right off the bat. So then it just, everything went downhill from there. So essentially, this organization was built from that deployment in '04. And we've seen that there was a lot of guys coming back messed up from combat. And so he was in an abandoned home in Baldwin, that's where he was from. And he was going to die by overdose, is what he wanted to do. He's had enough. By this time, he'd been strung out, and his whole family was upset with him. So he was at the end of his ropes. And so he was in an abandoned house. He did this shot of heroin, and he said he immediately regretted it as soon as he pushed that plunger in. And that's when he went out. And he just wished, as soon as he put that plunger in, he said, that I wish somebody would have just came to that door and helped me. So he then decided there on out that we were going to have an organization that's going to help those vets that are struggling. So when he got up, it scared him enough to go to the VA and get for help. I wish it would have worked on me, but it didn't work on me. So he gets to the VA and he sees a lot of people talking the talk. Really wasn't nobody walking the walk as far as veteran suicide. They're doing 22 push-ups, they're doing all this great stuff out there, but really
a whole bunch of hashtag do this, hashtag do that. Yeah.
It was nothing proactive. There wasn't really boots on ground, anybody doing anything. So at first, when We Are 22 was formed, he was doing responses himself, and he was going all over the state. And finally, it grew out of that. He got some people that believed in the mission and got behind him. And so my third time coming out of prison, statistically speaking, I would do great, I'd crash out, then I'd go back to prison. So no one had I don't trust anybody for not believing anything I said, right? I'm 100% with you. I didn't believe what I said at this point. So this last time I got out, as I sat in that jail, I said to myself, the sober experience for me was that I had a buddy that volunteered, took my spot in combat. On April 25th, 2004, we was hit in an ambush and he was killed. So, I had a lot of survivor's guilt. That should have been me. He was a great man. He was a hero, father of three. His name was Kenneth Melton. And so I was saying to myself, I'm not doing this guy any justice by coming home and being on the life installment plans in and out of prison. So the sober experience for me was when I finally come to the realization that I had raised my right hand, I had sworn to protect the enemy, sworn in domestic. I get sent to Iraq in Operation Iraqi Freedom 2. I fight for other people's freedom who did not want me there, who did not like me, and then I come home and have my own self strip that very freedom away. It was a sober experience for me. So
I can relate. I mean, OIF 1, OIF 2, and coming home in '04 as well. And, the questions, I love how you brought it up. You said that you trying to find the person that you were before. And when I got home, my dad told me, "You're no longer Sergeant Orton. You're no longer Sergeant Orton. You're Matt. You're Matt." And I had no idea who Matt was. I could tell you all day long who Sergeant Orton was.
Oh, yeah.
But I had no clue who Matt was. And it put me down. I got lucky on the drug thing. I stayed away from that one because they were, when I was in Germany, they were all the time offering. We'll put you on this, we'll put you on that, we'll put you on this. And I was like, no.
The VA were the biggest drug dealers out there.
Oh, yeah. And to a point, they still are. And I hate saying that to the organization because with what I went through last year, they stepped up. Now, a year ago, they stepped up. Now, I know that 20 plus years ago, it was a totally different animal. And to where we talked about, with the 22 and stuff, is the same thing. There was really nobody to reach out and talk to except for your buddies. And your buddies are going through the same thing. And so you being, you're reserve, and I was active. Yeah, and so you're National Guard, I was active. And like you said, they train you for war, they don't train you to come home. I felt bad for the reserves and the guard guys because you guys are generally our home. And all of a sudden we're going to grab you and, you're trained for it. but this isn't your everyday life.
Right.
You know, for the active world, that was our everyday life. So I think that, you know, for the reserves and the guard guys, I think it hit you guys harder, unfortunately, and which is horrible. And when you came back, there was nothing in place
Right.
at all for any kind of programs, even for the active. You know, when I was going through ACAP, remember ACAP, our Army Career Alumni Program, getting out, full, medical, 100%, honorable, everything. The ACAP lady during the briefing right off the bat, she said, now when you get into the civilian world and you go to job interviews, they're going to look down on you, saying that you don't know how to handle the real world, a real job. And no lie, I actually stood up and walked out of the briefing and pretty much told her where to go. I mean, that was the whole concept back in 2004 of what was taking place with it. So, when you said that, you're trying to find out who you were, that balance. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's been 21 years. And, I'm still Sergeant Orton. At the end of the day, I'm going to be Sergeant Orton. Matt's there. But, yeah, and that was 11 years active that I did. So I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to let you know that. Because you mentioned the prison thing too, though. And, for a lot of people out there don't realize so the prison, prison life is a structured lifestyle.
That's like the military.
Yep, just like the military. So they talk about, veterans when we get out, like you're talking about, we don't miss the circus, we miss the clowns,
Right.
per se. And, like you mentioned earlier, that bond, that brotherhood, that tightness that we had. It didn't matter your race, it didn't matter your color, it didn't matter your creed, it didn't matter any of that stuff. I mean, you were wearing that uniform and we were standing beside each other. I mean, every politics, all the BS back here in the States went out the window. And that was your brother.
The amazing thing about it, you didn't ever have time to feel sorry for yourself because
No.
everybody was suffering just like you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made it great. So, it didn't make it as bad. As long as you knew your battle buddy was hate life as well, it was all good.
So my motto to everybody on every deployment, everything that I went on was, you know what? Yeah, this sucks. This is horrible. This is miserable. They can't stop the time.
Right.
No matter how bad it gets, we are going to go home.
Right.
We are going to go home. And I mean, and as an NCO, squad leader and stuff, I mean, that was my job was to make sure that we all came home. Mm-hmm. I wanted to make sure that, of course, the guys above me, so forth and so on, to make sure we all came home. And it was like you said, too, though, that guilt, it's 21 years later and I still,
Right. 100%.
So, to just interject,
Yeah.
outsider, non-military, so when you came home, that's when you said that you began a drug addiction and you had your payment plan or whatever you said.
Installment.
Installment plan, there we go, yes. What kind of drove you to that? Was it trying to numb out some of the memories and the pain?
Absolutely.
Or?
I didn't believe in PTSD at all. When they said I had PTSD, I said, this is a cop-out. That's just, that infantry in me, that cocky, prideful infantryman that was in there,
Okay, one, you're 100% right. And Jacob will back me on this. Oh, just for my pen. Jacob will back me on this one. We would be out, we'd be doing stuff, and I will drop that down, won't I? Infantry, man, blah, blah, blah. Ranger, man, blah, 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 And, I mean, you've heard me say before, too, though. Oh, I'll just tell you this. I don't understand how we do. I mean, but again, too, to your defense on that one, is in the infantry. And, for those in the audience who've never been in the military served, everybody talks about Navy SEALs and Delta Force, and they talk about, the Rangers, and they talk about all this cool stuff, and, I was a Marine Corps sniper on, I've met more snipers since I have been out of the military than I've ever met while I was in. I was in for 11 years.
What you guys at when I was
No, exactly. I mean, and Jacob will back me on this one, to where there's been numerous times we've been out before. Jacob's behind the camera, you guys. There's been numerous times we've been out, and I will be like, some guy will be like, yeah, I was a sniper. And Jake will tell you, I'll be like, I'm done with this conversation. And I will walk away.
Yeah.
Which, I hate saying that, but that's what pushed me away from the VFW.
No.
I mean, that's what pushed me away from every veteran organization out there at the time and I hate saying it, but I still hold, prejudice and grudges against that because you go into a VFW and there's people watching right now and they're agreeing, You will meet more special forces people in the VFW than you will ever meet anywhere else in the world.
Well, you know,
But with the infantry, though, the manliness. Okay, so in the infantry, your job is to go and meet the enemy and beat the enemy. Whether it be hand, you're not a special ops guy, you're not dropping behind lines, you're not getting picked back up again. The infantry guys on the ground, our sole function in life is to go meet the enemy, annihilate the enemy, and keep going. You're not waiting for a helicopter to pick you back up and take you back to another Alpha where you're safe, or a safe AO for another operation. In the infantry, once you secure that objective, there's another one you're going to next. And then there's another one you're going to next.
the gift that keeps on giving.
Yes, I mean, you are nonstop going. So the infantry that's my tattoo is the infantry, because no matter what I did, the basis of everything was the infantry.
Yeah.
And the Army does not function without the infantry. It is
The backbone.
Yes.
of the military.
Well, the queen of battle, baby. I mean, just simple
Follow
enough.
me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and so not to go on that rant about that. So it's kind of nice to have another fellow grunt at the same time, saying everything that we went through. But God, I do miss the infantry. I'm not gonna lie, I do. I miss grunts. I mean, the best people, the most creative people in the world, the most bored people, and the most dangerous people when they're bored
Yeah.
is your basic infantry soldier.
Yeah.
And I've talked about that on other shows when I talked
Yeah.
about my AHA Academy. Well, real quick, so my show is the Drunken Cryptids. You know, I do talk about cryptids and ghosts and stuff like that. You ever saw it? Real quick, can we get off topic? I mean, you ever saw anything?
Yeah. I'm saying a thing or two and then question a lot of things.
Really? That may be time for another show or something like that. I know Nicole, she's a complete, I'm just kidding. She's supposed to be coming on my show to talk about St. Michael, but she hasn't done it yet, even though her husband's the producer for the show.
It won't be St. Michael, but we can talk about other things.
That's the one I want to talk about.
I know this one you want to talk about, but
Well, if you guys want to hear that episode, it's on Chilling with Spirits, because it won't be on the Drunken Cryptids, apparently.
there are plenty of other episodes we can do.
I've got to throw some shade at Nicole. Nicole's great and wonderful, but you're right, though. The PTSD is a cop-out. I mean, that's how I viewed it as well when I got out. I don't have PTSD, and I felt bad when I got out. I met a nice gal, and I was still struggling. I mean, I would call my platoon sergeant up in Germany and cry, bring me home. You know, my buddy took me to the airport in Frankfurt, you know, for me to fly home, and I cried. And he was like, "What is wrong? You're going home."
Yeah.
And I said, "No, I'm not. This is home.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea where I'm going."
So that's exactly what I felt when I was sent home to take care of my child that was abandoned. I was leaving my guys, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of anger and resentment about that. But yeah, it's 100%. So my deal was that there's two kind of people in this world. There's those that are humble and those that are to be humble.
That's a fact.
And
I know a few people that right now.
yeah. The infantry, when I came home, my dad used to tell me this joke. He was medical. He was a master sergeant. And he said, "Son, do something in the military where you can have a job when you get out." And I couldn't look myself in the mirror if I wasn't infantry. You know, there's one job in the military, that's infantry. And that's my cockiness, my 10-foot tall bulletproof.
That was my
attitude.
mom. Yeah, my mom when I was joining. So we got the ASVAB back, and I tested high for electronics, medical. I can't remember some of the other ones. And my mom and the recruiter were pushing for that. I was going, "Oh, airborne infantry. I want to jump out of airplanes. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to go do." I mean, ugh. And so I signed up for that. And there is no job outside.
Right.
Now, I will tell you that law enforcement will prefer to hire infantry over MPs. Not the personal against my MPs, guys. I love
You
y'all.
can't spell wimp without MP.
Exactly. WIMP. Come on, y'all know us. Look, you got two grunts up here. Boy. But, they will. It's because the MPs already have their habits built in to where, talking a lot of law enforcement, groups out there, they'll tell you, yeah, if it comes down to it, we'll pick an infantry soldier versus over an MP soldier. And it's because there's no bad habit. Well, we have them, but we don't have law enforcement bad habits, to where MPs unfortunately already have
We
those.
still have to take orders and execute.
We do, and we're really good at that. Until you get older like me, you get cranky, and you go, "No, I don't think I want to do that anymore."
But to answer your question,
Yeah.
that was my problem when I came back was I had a lot of things going. I was completely lost. And when this guy came around, you join the military, you get away from all these people, and then, you know, you come around again, you see them somewhere, and then that's when I was introduced to meth. One of my best decisions in life, it really didn't have a good 401k or retirement, you know, messing with that, but 3 kind of hots in a cot. But it worked. It helped at first. And my problem was, you know, my pride and ego was so bad that I could not see myself standing in front. And this is fun. I'm telling you, this is how God works, man, in my life. Okay? I could not see myself standing in front of a young man who was in his 20s, didn't have hair on his chin. His mama probably didn't even know he was up there. Didn't serve in combat, wasn't in the military, and then complain about everything I voluntarily signed up for. It just was not in me. And so when they started saying, you have PTSD, I'm just like, no, what the hell is that? This is like, it sounded like a cop-out to me. Like, I voluntarily signed up for this is what I did. I knew full and well what my job was when I got into combat, infantry. I knew what it was. That mindset kept me in my addiction for 16 and a half years.
Were you in active addiction while you were enjoying your 3 hogs in the cot?
In prison? No. I didn't. That was the last
You did
place.
fully stay thing where you
Yeah,
didn't
I
have
didn't-
people do anything.
Didn't want to get high in prison. Just
Yeah.
those crazy thoughts there. But I know how to get that in there too. You know what I'm saying? I ain't high that low. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not that desperate.
Yeah. But, you know, and I'll just tell you, today I'm able to talk about my story. So the problem was I could get clean, I couldn't stay clean. And this was my problem. And, you know, my suicide attempts that I had, I was so arrogant and cocky that I did not want to go out by suicide. I didn't want anyone to know that I copped out and went out by suicide. So I was living a life shooting up methamphetamine in my veins, trying to kill myself this whole time. And I'd much rather gone out as a junkie than I would say, hey, this guy died by suicide. And it's just crazy the mindset I was in at that time to think like that, but that's what it was. And you know, the last time, the story I'm telling you guys, you know, about my buddy that was killed in combat, there was a time back in my addiction that I thought about this. I had to go run and put one in me. It's just, I couldn't think about it. And, you know, anniversary dates come up, anything comes up that would do that, make me think about that, I have to do it high. So, the last time, like I said, I was in that county jail, and I realized that I had my own dumb self, stripped my own freedom away. I went to the VA hospital after I got out of prison and went from one institution to another institution, and I did the inpatient program. I don't know if you ever done it at the Fort Roots.
Yeah.
Okay. It saved my life, and this was the 3rd time I'd taken this program. The only difference this time was that I opened up, got transparent, laid it all out there, and I cried, and I cried, and I cried. And it was one of the best things that ever happened in my life. And I don't know how you are religiously. I'm not a big holy roller, but God has got me clean. I've tried everything else. God was the last thing I tried, the first thing that worked.
Well, so on that token too, so dealing with the cryptids and the paranormal, I'll be honest with you, has brought me a lot closer to God than anything ever has.
Right.
With the research that that I do, the investigations that we do, I mean, there's what happens with the paranormal and cryptid side. There, to me, that's more evidence of God.
Yeah.
And of course, with our background and stuff, and with what happened to me, and I'll get to mine here in a second. But yeah, I'm all about God. I mean, she'll bet, Jacob's over there right now. The same thing. Where we have religious debates, and discussions on stuff. And when it comes down to God, and like I just got back from the Sally House this past weekend up in Kansas, and I took holy water with me. Because I'm not playing around.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if you're haunted, great. You're not coming. It's not coming home with me. Yeah. First off, my wife would kill me, and then my kids would be traumatized, and that's not going to happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
So yeah.
But I will say that God does work in really strange ways.
Right.
And He may not always work when we expect Him to work. He works for us when we're ready for it to work. Yes.
So
Say that one more time for the audience.
The way we need him to work.
Right.
Exactly.
I love that. So I noticed, and hindsight's 20/20 always. And that last time I went to prison, and I was in the county jail at Lowell County, and I said, I'm quit, I'm done. But this time was different. than all the other times I said it. And, you know, I call it acting on an emotion. You know, you guys have been drunk and you're throwing up in the toilet all night and you're swearing to God, please God, pull me out of this. I will never drink again. I swear to you, this is it. And at 5 o'clock the next day, you get drunk again. That's called acting on an emotion. The first time I went to prison, I did 4.5 calendars. And I had a lot of trauma growing up. And anybody who's been through trauma, you develop this mechanism called blocking shit out.
Yep.
And when you put those walls up, I would block things out. So when I went to prison, I had lost everything to meth. It was like, to a normal person, why would I want to go back to anything that has destroyed my life the way it did? And lost my military career, lost my house, lost my car, lost my wife. I mean, everything was gone. And I said to myself, there's no way. So the entire 4 years I was in prison, 4.5 years, I blocked it out of my mind. I didn't think about doing meth. I didn't have the urge to do meth. I didn't do anything. But as soon as I got, as soon as I got my walking papers that I made parole, I had subconsciously caught myself looking for a band that quick. So there's that. I had mentally relapsed before I actually relapsed. And so the entire 4.5 years I was there, I was not working on myself at all. I had just blocked the shit out and thought that was going to work. That don't work. Blocking things out doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? So it eventually got to deal with it. I got out of prison then. I went to college. I was enrolled in college. I got full custody of my kid. But the slightest little thing set me back off in addiction again. So anyway, this last time I went to prison, I got out and I go to the VA. I do that inpatient PTSD. And I'm going to tell you what God does, man. This is how it's funny. The whole time in my early addiction when I said, I did not want to go to the VA and talk to some young kid with no hair on his chin.
Yep.
And talk to him about my problems.
Who has no idea what you've been through.
And it was actually him that helped me out. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Like, God had a sense of humor. So all this time I was running and my prime ego wouldn't allow me to do it. In the end, it was that 20-something-year-old kid with no hair on his chin, who'd never been in the military, never been to combat, who actually pulled me out of that and helped me save my life. So I went through this therapy. I don't remember the name of it, but it was, I had to sit in his office and replay my whole ambush, the most traumatic event you had. And I had to say it over and over from what I remember to the last thing I remember. And I would say this over and over and over again. So many times I'm thinking to myself, why would you want me to think about this? I'm trying to not think about this. Why am I doing this? It's making me so mad. I wanted to kick a puppy. I love puppies, you know what I'm saying? So then on top of that, I'm recording this on my phone. And at night when I go back to my room, I got to listen to it again over and over and over again. And I was like, man, I don't understand your torture method you got going on here. But when he broke it down to me, it's like, you know, when you was a kid and you watched a scary movie, it scared the hell out of you. But the more times you watch it, you no longer scared of it.
You knew the jumps, you knew what was going to happen, you knew the plot, you knew the end.
So it hit me, and everything changed for me on that right there. So it gave me a point today that I'm allowed to talk about it without it making me want to get high. It's been my motivation. So when I look back in my life, you know, God gives us a shovel, but He doesn't expect you to stand on that shovel and then pray for a hole to be dug. You got to put in the effing work.
So it's funny. So when mentioning that, so I talk all the time. Is you know, this person goes out swimming, and they start to drown, and they're praying for God, help me, help me, help me, help me. And the lifeguard shows up. I'm like, no, God's gonna help me, right? Boom, boat shows up. You're still drowning. No, God's gonna help me. And then the third one, helicopter shows up. And he's like, no, God's gonna help me, and they drown. They get to heaven and they get to God and they're like going, hey, look, I was drowning. Why didn't you save me? And the guy goes, I sent you a lifeguard. I sent you a boat and a helicopter. What do you want? And, you know, it's funny, but at the same time, too, though, is that a lot of times He put those in front of us and we don't see exactly what it is because we're expecting something else.
Right.
And in life, a lot of people don't realize that, to where what we're asking for may not be the giant miracle that we were expecting, but it's still that miracle right there in itself.
And like, you don't even realize that till it's hindsight at that point.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so I went to that inpatient. I completed that in 2020, like right before COVID hit. I graduated the day after my birthday, January 31st. But it allowed me today, when I look back, I had to go through all that. Like, I believe God has been preparing me through all this choices that I made on my own. God can take something great out of a mess, turn your mess into a testimony.
Well, so also got this way too, though. Sorry, my God. So not like it a mess, but maybe the fact that you had to go through what you had to go through, what you went through to get you where you are today, so you can be that voice. So you
Right.
can look and say, hey,
So
I understand.
That's exactly what I believe. I believe God has been preparing me for this chapter of my life I'm at today. And of course, I was so prideful and I was so cocky that He had to break me all the way down before He could build me back up. And I believe that 100%.
Yep.
And so when I got out of prison that last time, did the PTSD patient, I come home, then I started having all my guys call me that I had been talking to in 20-something years. And they're like interrogating me. And it was really weird because I've been interrogated before. And I was like, what the hell's going on? Just tell me what's going on. And finally, Michael Brooks called me. And later in life, he told me a couple years later that he heard the hunger in my voice. My problem was I lost my mission and purpose in life. And I needed to find that mission. And I'm a strong believer that anybody who's been in the trenches, anybody that's been in the gutter through addiction or depression or anything like that, and you come out on the other side of that, you'll be filled with empathy and compassion that can't be bought, can't be duplicated, can't be bought from the commissary, sold on the store, nothing. Where you can actually look at someone and you can see, I know exactly where you're at because I was there.
Yeah, and that, so I'll be honest with you, like movies that I would have never cried over 20 years ago, I bawl.
Yeah.
I'm not. I have to be real careful what I watch or anything because I will cry just
Yeah.
because that right there it makes a lot of sense now you bring that up. When you do go through that traumatic events and you do go through everything, your empathy is through the roof.
Right.
And which is hard at times. Being because there's only so much of yourself that you can give, and you wish you could give more.
Right. So yeah, absolutely 100%. So the deal was the empathy and the compassion that hit me so hard, man. It's like God didn't pull me out of this fire for me to sit here and do nothing with it. It's for me to go back in and help those people coming out. And when I talked to Michael Brooks on the phone later in life, he told me, Savannah, you were ready. I heard the hunger in your voice. You were ready to go. So I became a WAT 22 responder. And I got that second chance and I never looked back. That's what saved my life right there, ultimately. This organization did. So basically what that means is, for my first year, I went on 16 responses through the state. And I would say 85 to 95% of those were substance abuse related. The suicidal ideations that came from that. So this is not like, a lot of this is not a one-and done type operation. This is a lot of build-up things that's been going on. But you know that. But, so, I'm in this organization, I'm doing it, and it saved my life. It pulled me out. It gave me my mission and purpose because this is what, hey, I know what this is like. I don't want to see somebody else go through this. I have a huge passion for veterans. I have a huge passion for, especially ones that come out and go, get in drug addiction, get wrapped up in that because, man, it's just at that time in your life, you're so blinded by, you got these blinders on, you don't see the whole outcome of what this is going to turn into. And so I'm put in a position today where I can do that. So the funny thing is for a year after I was doing this, that WAT 22 made me a responder of the month. Now you got to understand, I was in prison for 4.5 years. My first time down, when I came out, there was touchscreen phones and it was Facebook. I thought the Jetsons were going to have cars floating. I didn't know what was going on by the time I got out the first time. So I'm not really tech savvy, but I knew I was made this responder of the month, and it went out and. We have over 40,000 followers on We Are 22, so it's out there. And the sheriff of Lonoke County is the sheriff who sent me to prison twice, and he's seen this response of this post. I'll never forget, he calls me on Messenger. I look at the phone and said, Sheriff, the hell is the calling me for? You know what I'm saying? Prank call, what's going on? So I answer the phone.
Decline.
Yeah, I answer the phone, like, hello? And he says, Springer. He said, let's have lunch. I said, okay. All right. He says, well, how fast can you get here? I said, shit, fast as the law allows, I'll be there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking he wants to talk about We're 22 because we work closely with law enforcement. And so I'm getting that all in my head, getting prepared to go do that. And I get up there and I'm talking to him about what we do and da-da-da. And he says, bring it, no. You were one of the biggest meth dealers in Lonoke County. He said, they're going to listen to you before they listen to me. I want you to come help me run this back program at this jail. And I was like, dude, that was God. That's a full circle moment for me, man. Knowing that I went from an inmate the darkest time of my life and been through this, and it's like God has been opening doors that no man can close ever since I came out. And I'm a responder for suicide. We are the 22. I'm now a peer recovery, nationally recognized, certified peer recovery specialist for the state. And so it's like so many moments. The prosecutors that sent me to prison, I'm now at the same table with them advocating for veterans and people like me in the past. It's great. That's a God thing, man. That's 100%. So I use the analogy. It's like, if I told you, if you've never been to combat, and I said, hey man, we're going to combat tomorrow, would you want to listen to somebody who's actually been in combat, or that 8-year-old kid who knows all the lingo and plays Call of Duty? So it's common sense. This is the game changer. There's no greater therapy than a veteran helping a veteran or an addict helping an addict. I'm a firm believer in that.
No, I agree. So, like, for the addict side, I have a hard time because I don't know.
Right.
No, I mean, I grew up with addiction in the family. I was never, I never suffered from it. I mean, there are times I'm sure I've been called an alcoholic based upon, only the name of the show. Jacob's over there going, But, there was always a limit that we would always stop at. And we always had that. And we made sure of that. And it wasn't like all the time. There was a point, it was all the time, but it was 2020. There's nothing else to do.
Right.
So we go hang out till about 11 o'clock at night, midnight, go to Waffle House, and then go home. I was retired at the time. I mean, yeah. So, but you're right. I mean, the addict side, to where someone comes to me for addiction, I can't relate, and I'm like the worst person in the world to come to that. I really am.
Right.
I'm like going, I'm not it. I promise. So let me find somebody to help you out with that, because I do know some other addicts and stuff. But the veteran thing, yeah, I've had to, numerous times since I've gotten out, talk to veterans, and who were, at the time, I thought they were struggling worse than I was. I was just hiding mine.
Right.
I was better at hiding my struggles versus them.
That's really all it is.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, come on, man, this is what you got to do. This is who you are. This is what, this is boom, 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 boom. And not taking my own advice.
Right.
Which led me up to the event that happened back in, last year. On May 6th of last year is when, I cracked. And, my cracking was due to 20 years of constant pain due to my injury. Not taking any of, no drugs, no prescriptions, nothing. I refused to do it. I didn't want to do it because I'd seen friends who ended up becoming hooked and addicted. And I've mentioned that before, like me and Jacob talked about this before. So, and for everybody, Tommy is unfortunately not able to be here. So this is Nicole, and we have the little one. So she interrupts. This is the motivation not to do it again. But, and it was a built up, but I had also built myself up. And this is the part that Jacob hates. I think Jacob and Vince is the worst part of the story. I had built myself up to the point where no matter what was going on, it's okay, smacked. It's okay. Come on, smack. Yeah, it's okay. No matter what, that's okay. And I wasn't. And to where I did cry out the night before, I needed help. I'm in trouble. I need help. I need help. And I was like, I'm not going to make this. I don't know what's wrong, but I'm not okay. But again, too, though, I built that whole entire persona of that, infantry, this is who we are. And I went home. It was a Sunday night. I went home. I went to bed. I woke up, and I already knew what I was going to do. As soon as I woke up, I got a hold of my work. I said, hey, I got a stomach virus. I'm not coming in today. So they don't have to worry about me. And I drove to Walmart, and I bought the tools and the stuff I needed to do, and I went home. And I wrote a note to my daughter, I wrote a note to my son, and I sealed it up and made sure that it would be plainly visible. One of my good friends was on the North Little Rock Police Department at the time, and I made a note, stuck it to my window, and it said anybody but him. I didn't want him to be the one to find me, and I knew it would be him. That's why I made the note and left another note, and went about. I loaded up myself on melatonin to fall asleep, had the exhaust pumping into the Jeep, and I was gonna go out in my beloved Pearl.
The Black Pearl.
The Black Pearl.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second, or you have any music?
No, you're not muted.
Okay, I was just wondering.
There's only one mute. That's the third
I
one.
was just wondering since we had, the daughter. And
I was trying to help out.
She's a
Yeah.
gift from God.
She is.
She's a
She's
gift from God.
my miracle, but
I love
anyway.
her.
Okay, so let's talk
You
about
don't know
that.
this story, do you?
No, I don't. But
Oh,
let's,
wow.
let's talk about this, okay? Because you're making me cry already. Like, we're not supposed to cry yet, okay? We're not there. Okay, so let's talk about, so it's not just from a veteran standpoint, but in general, so you get to that mindset that you don't want to wake up, you don't want to go on, whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah.
So, as a dad with two amazing children,
They're
can you,
great.
like, oh, God, and they love my daughter more than anything, and I love them. So, can you explain to everybody watching and listening how you got to that point to where you went above the fact that, like, that you would be better off, that your kids would be better off without you? Like, how did that mental state get to you? Because normal people who have never experienced this kind of mental health illness would not understand that. So if you could explain that, I think that would help drive home a good message.
Yeah. All right. Now you're making me cry. So, where I was at mentally was, in my head, everything and everybody would be so much better off without me. The world would be better. There would be, I'm not going to be missed. Everybody would be happier. There would be no drama from.
Exes or anything
Yes,
else?
yeah, I can't really
Yes.
go in. Yeah, I can't name drop because they're going to, but, if you know me, you know what I'm talking about. It would just be better. The world would be such a better place without me in it. And and at that moment, so what's funny is looking back, it's not me. And that was the thing, is looking back when I was going through the program too, I even said to you, like, right through everything, looking back at it, and that was not a version of me that I know. I mean, I'm the fighter. I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna fight. I mean, I'm an effing grunt.
Right?
I'm a non-commissioned officer. And at that moment, I wasn't. I was beat. And again, it was 20 years of being in constant pain and hurting. And when you hurt every day,
You feel like there's no other
yes,
way
there's
out.
no other way. So the TV show House. I don't know if you've ever seen House or not. The TV show. It's a the Dr. House.
Oh, yeah.
So he is such an asshole.
House has gotta watch it.
He is such an asshole through the whole series. And the first episode I caught on, the first episode that I watched, I was going, oh, he's an asshole because he's in pain. I get that. Those moments, and Jacob's learned me by now after so many years, if I turn into an asshole, Jacob already knows. He'll even look at me and go, are you hurting? He'll just come right out and say, are you hurting? I mean, seriously, he'll be that guy. Are you hurting? Yeah, dude, I'm in a lot of pain right now. Well, sit down, chill out, stop. And it's my pride is what doesn't let me do it. But being 20 years of pain, 20 years of horrible relationships, of choices that I made based upon what I think I should be doing, based upon trying to be that Sergeant Orton guy, like we talked earlier about narcissistic relationships. And it all came to a head. And that morning, it was, I was done. I did not want to be here. I didn't want to hurt anymore. During 2020, right before COVID hit, the VA identified one of the problems I was having physically. And I'll never forget, I got excited because they said this is operable. I was like, no way. Oh my God, I'm going to be able to be pain-free. I'm not going to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning with my legs and body hurting all the time. I'm going to be okay. And they're like, hey, we're going to send this on out. We got a whole bunch of civilians we're going to send this out to. We got great doctors in the community. We're going to get it going. I'm like, yes, I'm excited. And I was traveling for work at the time, and I was up in Fayetteville, and the VA, you know the number when it calls you, that 1,000 at the end.
257, 1,000?
Yep, 1,000. You know it, Charles, VA. Man, I was so excited because I was going to get my surgery date when I answered that call. Sorry, Mr. Orton. Everybody's looked at everything and said, no, it's an inoperable procedure, it's too risky, it's a dirty procedure, and no one's willing to touch it.
Wow.
And I was crushed. I was like, well, make me 100%. Make me 100%. F you, and I went off on the phone, make me 100%. Well, maybe 90 at the time, and I quit my job. I was like, all right, cool, all right, I'm doing great now, but still. And still living with it. And it's sad because I do have an 11-year-old and a 7-year-old, and they run and they play, and you see them, and it's so hard for me to want to jump in and play with them because that's who I used to be 20 years ago.
That's not
And they're like, come on, Dad.
You can't.
I can't.
But they understand that.
You know,
They're
and this
some
is
of the
not a
most-
shot at Jacob. We went to Petit Jean 2 years ago, and I'm trying to keep up. I was struggling, Jacob Ramirez, and so I had the kids and everything with us, and Ben was right there with them the whole entire time, just happy they were going. And
you couldn't do it. I understand. And it's not should have. This is what was meant to be.
sending me stuff with me to make sure Daddy was okay. She shouldn't have. Daddy should have been okay. But because of the injury and going through the pain, you know, and everybody's like, well, you look great. It's all internal. I mean, I just got an MRI done a month ago because there's no reflexes on my right side. None. How many times did you see me fall?
So
And I
let's
try and
talk
crack a joke about it, don't I? Every time I do, like when we were moving into the house and I got off the tailgate of the truck and I immediately went down. And Jacob stepped on up. I said, no. I said, okay, guys, why have you gathered around me? That's what we need to be doing. You know, and I try and turn it into humor. And it's the fact of the matter that I can't do those things. And, you know, for the show, for what I'm dealing with physically, I mean, we go on investigations. It's hard. I struggle all the way through and I power through it. And, you know, like Talina, she's saying all the time, you know, I understand you have a limited time before you're physically done. And I can't do it. And I am the guy sitting at the base going, okay, y'all see stuff and I'm here. Yay. Or it should be me right there going, oh my God, there it is. You know? And, you know, so,
Yeah, but let's back up. Let's put this into perspective.
Okay.
Okay? So you had your suicide attempt. You
Yeah.
didn't do
Okay,
it.
so right in the middle of it, yeah, I woke up. I snapped myself. Sorry. Yeah.
Time out. Okay.
And I checked myself in.
So, yeah. So obviously you didn't do it. Obviously, since you're
Right.
still sitting here talking, we're all talking to ghosts right now. So, but
It is,
you know,
it is a paranormal show.
So two things. One, how happy are you that you made a decision to not do it?
Oh my God. I'll be honest with you. So when it happened, so I'll go back. I talked about this, you know, last year's episode. So when it happened, it was really surreal. I checked myself into the VA. I mean, there was nobody making me go. I went and checked myself into the program, got it, you know, boom, 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 boom. And what hurt too, though, is I know I put some friends of mine into a spot where they felt like they had to constantly check on me. And I felt bad about putting them in that spot. And I'm looking at them right now. So, I mean, there was not a day that would go by to where Jacob and Vince were not blowing my phone up. You know, Mandy had passed away, who was the first producer for the show. He took all the passwords and everything with him. So what I really wanted to do, the show and everything I was so passionate about, was just going away after I made the attempt. And I was like, okay, so I got to put faith in God. I got to do this. And, you know, it's going to be okay. Just, you know, keep powering forward. And then the doors opened up, and God puts people into your path when you least expect it out of nowhere. Memorial Day weekend was the pivotal weekend. Now, I made my attempt on May 6th. So a couple weeks later, Memorial Day weekend, had my kids. And I had a friend of mine over with her kids. And Tommy, out of the blue, he'd come on the show. He saw my show, and I made it on Facebook. He's like, this is kind of cool. Let me check it out. And he came on, talked about what happened to him in Kentucky. And he got a hold of me that morning and goes, hey, bro, is it okay if I come by and hang out for a little bit? And I went, yeah, that's where I live. And he showed up, and we got talking, and he goes, so what's going on with the show, man? What are you doing? I mean, and I was, and I'd known Tommy before. And I was like, well, you know, I don't have a producer anymore. I have this great 17-year-old kid, Gunner, who's a great kid. Awesome guy. He was not a kid anymore. I mean, he's a great guy. And I said, you know, he's trying to help me with the YouTube. That was all we were on. It was YouTube. We had no video, just me audio going. And so what did you see around the corner? So, and Tommy goes, well, I used to do this for radio stations. I'd like to kind of help you produce it. And I was like, oh, well, I wasn't expecting that. let me think about that, because it caught me off guard. Because at this point in time, and Jake will tell you, I was going to pull the plug on the show. I was going to pull the plug on the show. So I was like, well, let me think about it. And the next day, Tommy came over again, if you remember. Tommy came over 2 days in a row. And all of a sudden, this Jeep parks in my front yard. And I'm like, who in the hell is this? No clue who this person is. This older guy's walking down my driveway towards me. I'm dealing with a bunch of drama in my life. I'm going, we're about to start throwing here in a minute. I have no idea who this guy is. Tony. I met this guy one time at the St. Patrick's Day Parade, and they were decorating their Jeep beside me. Mm-hmm. And their route home took him by my house, and he kept saying, I know that Jeep. And he goes, that's that guy we met who has that weird podcast. That same weekend, Memorial Day weekend, she had told him, you need to grab a beer and you need to go to that guy's house. Random. No phone calls. We were friended on Facebook. I mean, what's that? Nothing. And sure enough, I'm looking at him going, I was looking like, oh crap, here we go. And I went, Tony. And he goes, St. Patrick's Day Parade. I went, how are you? And he goes, I brought you a beer. Blew me away. A few days later, I asked Tommy to go ahead, yes, take it over. I'm trying to find all the passwords, and boom, the show blew up. So ever since that happened, and that weekend of me sticking with it and pushing through, man, life has been great. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it is, the show, we won an award last year. So last year we won an award. So best documentary podcast in Arkansas. We're not even a year old and we won an award in Arkansas. Thank you guys for the votes. I appreciate it.
Nice.
We won an award. Went to Fayetteville. Not only that, I was filmed in a documentary looking for Sasquatch, searching for Sasquatch with Jason Kinsey. I got invited to be a part of that, through Todd. I met Todd East. And not only that though, with the podcasting world, there were so many other people that were doing what I was doing, and we just melded together. And my life, has been, amazing. I cannot brag enough about how great everything is. And life is never always perfect. There's always going to be hurdles, always going to be obstacles that happen, take place. But from what happened on May 6th, so is a lesson. And I am so grateful that I failed. This is the big failure that I am so grateful that I failed at. That I woke myself up and said, no. And that's what it was. No. I made a phone call to the VA, got a hold of the VA, they knew what was going on. I talked to Jacob, and after that, let him know what was going on, and I talked to my parents. And that was probably the hardest call to make, was to my parents to say, hey, this is what happened. I'm going to the hospital, I'm going to be out of the loop for a while, I don't know how long I'm going to be gone. And then I got a hold of, Sammy's mom, I got a hold of Ben's mom, told them the same thing, one's a different topic. And so this is what's going on, and here we go. So, and now, I have an award-winning podcast. I've been featured on TV. I got back from investigating the Sally House. I go looking for Bigfoot. How many people can say that the fact of the matter is where the worst part in your life immediately afterward turns great? And that's not because I'm special or I'm magical at all. I suffer just as much as everybody else does, and I hurt just as much, if not more than everybody else does. But the ultimate message of it all is it gets better. And I am so grateful. The other pivotal moment during that time was my little girl had to do a choir. And, it's funny, Christine. She doesn't know. She didn't know. This is one of those episodes where her mom, even though it's not the little watch it. And so she had to sing for choir. I was having a hard time being around people. And her mom was standing there with me. Me and her mom, we're really good friends still. And every time she was singing, she was like, and all I thought was if I'd have gone through that, I would have screwed that up for her. I would have messed that up for her. I would have ruined that moment of her smiling and laughing and having fun and looking at Dad and making sure that Dad sees her. I would have ruined that if I'd have done that.
The moral of the story is, yes, there's a great podcast, but even more than that, you've become a much better dad for your two kids.
Oh God, yeah, they're great.
You do. The kids are great, obviously, but
I'm not gonna lie, my kids are better than your kids. Boom. You know, and if there's a parent out there, every parent should be going, no, my kids are better than your kids.
No, but, I mean, imagine not being able to see her do that. Imagine, like, not being a part of Ben and his jumping spider craze that he's going through.
My little boy is fascinated, yes, oh my gosh. You know, so what's cool about it too, though, so by not doing that, though, and pursuing, because here's the thing, like you said, I missed my mission. I had no mission, I had no direction, I had nothing. And when you get out of the service and you're going through everything with the PTSD, with the survivor's guilt, with all of that stuff, you don't have a mission. And for the years and years, I was trying to figure out what my mission is. I could not figure it out. I knew God had a plan, I didn't know what the plan was. And I would probably fought the plan more often than I did the working.
Realizable.
Exactly, and, you know, but, you know, it was there. And I kept chasing it. I mean, yeah, I mean, I get make fun of for looking for Bigfoot. I mean, but okay, what are you doing? Playing golf? Nothing against my golfers, but you see, I mean, yeah. So you have a passion for something, and just like you know, God put you on that path, and what that direction you needed to do, which is to help guide people, you know, former veterans, and probably a lot of civilians as well. Because not only, you know, because for the longest time, like you, that whole entire, like we're talking about, yeah, combat infantry, who, you know, people are going, well, I went through a car wreck and it really traumatized me. I have PTSD from it. I'm going, from a car wreck? Really? And I had to mature and realize that, yes, that car wreck for that person was probably more traumatic than what you and me went through.
That's one of the biggest things that was my problem. You know, when I came home from Iraq and I see guys getting 100% and never left the fob, their FOBs, and then never went outside the wire, and they were escorting Hajis around with empty magazine M4s, and they come home, and so my pride and ego was like, dude, you didn't even go outside the wire. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So it finally had to hit me that trauma is trauma. What affects you may not affect me, and it vice versa. I tell people all the time, I don't care if you're in the 3rd grade and you're getting some candy out of the grocery line, your mama spanked your butt, and it traumatized you. That's no trauma. That's no trauma.
I'm going to use Jacob for a minute. So our first investigation in our hot area just north of Heber Springs, with what was going on, it was a kind of an eerie, weird day that we were having. So nothing was getting ready to set, and I'm all like jumping up and down. I'm like a kid in the candy store. And then, to where my respect for Jacob at this point in time went higher, to be honest with you. Jacob pulls me aside and he goes, I don't know how I'm going to react when something happens. And that put me in check. I step back and go, oh, okay, this is a totally different realism. And he even asked me, he goes, why don't they move? Why don't they move? Why don't they just say, F it, this is yours, we're out of here, we're going to bounce out? And I said, well, first obviously they're home, and they're trying to figure out what's going on at home. And secondly, dude, you go to your point, and I got your back from there. If you say you're done, you got to get out, I got you. To where even the homeowner, he was scared. I mean, he would not go. I don't blame him. Something happened to him. He wasn't willing to talk about it yet. This is a former Marine, retired Marine, retired law enforcement, look at me going, I don't leave my front porch when it gets dark. And I'm like, so the cryptid guy in me is going, oh, this is going to be a blast. You know what I mean? But the other side of me is going, man, I get it. I understand 100% of what's going on. I just talked about you not 10 minutes ago, Tony. So that's the Tony guy. So
it's like we need 2 different cameras.
I know.
It doesn't be like we just point into the camera.
Tony just showed up to the show. So the other cool thing about the Drunkencryptids, guys, is that the team and the friends and the circle that we have is really big in support and pushing for all this to happen. But I'll be honest, my life is great. I mean, I am so grateful that I'm alive. And I am chasing a dream that I never thought was possible. It's not because I'm lucky. It's not because I know something that other people don't know. It's because I want it. And it's going right back to the military thing again. We want that objective. We want to be this. We want to be that. Out here in the civilian world, we have to be the same way. We have to want it. And I think, I'll be honest with you, I love the organization and program that you're in. I absolutely love that. And I mean, yes, to where, I mean, we'll talk off air. So we've already talked a little bit off air, stuff like that for future plans for what you may want to do. Maybe another show in the future. But, so we've talked about what you and me have gone through and what brought us up to that point and stuff. So I'm going to share a little bit of guilt, and then I'm going to bring in Nicole for a minute.
Yeah,
So it's not
sorry,
going to be for a
Mama.
minute. So then,
Sorry.
no, you be mama for a minute. So while she's being mama, so I think the biggest hard time that I had, and I'm going to cry again, and you may actually join me on this one. Me and my little boy's mom were divorced. We were going through, it was a bad separation. My plate was full, emotionally, mentally, I could not. And I had a former soul to reach out. And he was like, hey, son, hey man, how you doing? Do you have a minute? Can we talk? Sent it to me on Facebook. And I remember I opened it up and I read it and I never responded, so he did see that I'd read it. Never responded. I didn't have the time at that point mentally and everything. 3 weeks later, I found out on Facebook you get join the 22. And since 2019, I have been carrying that guilt. That if I had just swallowed everything down and said, hey man, what's up? He started doing Scout, by the way.
Oh, Scout.
Yeah, Scout's out.
I got my vice president's a Scout. That's what works. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I've been carrying that guilt. And so, I mean, and every year on the anniversary of it, I mean, I make sure that I have a drink out for him and stuff like that. And I felt bad because he was a great kid. He was a quiet kid. It wasn't like, he wasn't a troublemaker or anything like that. He was a really good, just a good, decent kid. And it sucked.
The great thing about the organization, I'm just touching like I didn't mean to say this all the time, but if a veteran calls and they're in a crisis, and they call our hotline,
What is the hotline?
it's 1-800-WE-ARE-22, 1-888-WE-ARE-22. Or you go to weare22.org. Let me just correct
And you
that
can
number.
dial 988 too, right?
988-1, push 1.
Yes.
And we are also works with 988, the veterans, when they'll actually reach out to us if there's a veteran here locally, and we can go respond to that. But we're set up like the military. That's that camaraderie, that's that spirit we have. We got first sergeants, captains, lieutenants, colonels, all the way down the line. So if, say, dispatch gets a call and we're broken up into 6 regions throughout the state, and once that call comes through, we figure out which region it is, we've got a Slack encrypted channel, and we put these people in there, and we give it to the commander and that captain in that region, and they start activating some responders go. And then 2 responders always go, never by yourself. We provide them with body armor, Narcan, CLS kits, everything that you would need to go into a crisis situation. And we go talk to them, meet them where they're at that darkest moment in their life. And most of them just want to be heard. Some of them just need to be talked to. And
Yeah, I looked at that, yeah.
yeah, and people don't understand the struggles that's going on, and when they're trying to explain to the wife ain't understanding that just you're talking to somebody who will never get it.
Yep.
And so since the inception of this organization, we have answered over 800 calls for veterans and saved 800 ransoms.
God, how amazing is that?
And
I mean, seriously.
it's phenomenal. And I'll tell you what, of course, if you know anything about the VA, you don't know this is pretty magical. So
Yeah,
we
I know a lot about the VA.
We actually have an MOU with the VA at Little Rock, which is a
Okay, well, yeah, tell me what MOU
It's a
is.
memorandum of understanding, which basically means if I have come across a veteran at 2 a.m. on Christmas night and they're struggling and I can't develop a safety plan, or they say, hey, I need help, I need to go, I don't trust myself, or whatever the case may be, and we transport that veteran to the VA, I can take that veteran straight to the ER at Little Rock and McClure, take him straight to triage, and he goes straight into a program. No questions asked, no
So-
red tape, no bureaucracy.
When I went to Little Rock, because I went to Little Rock one, and when I got there, so I walked in the front desk, I said, this is what I'm here for. It was immediately, boom, 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 boom. They did not put me in the waiting room. They got me, they put me on suicide watch, obviously.
Clearly.
No, I mean, and I was like, I've already tried, guys. I'm not going to try again. So I'm here to help me on out. And the one guy, the nurse guy, we were cracking jokes about it. We really were. If I was going, can I eat something? And he goes, yeah. They're like, you're not supposed to have your phone or anything. Hopefully, nobody in trouble. But, you know, one was going, yeah, let me just see my phone. Let me let my mom know I'm okay. And he's like, all right. And then, of course, I was going, can I smoke? And he goes, yeah, come on, let's go take a walk. So we walked off campus, I could smoke. And he goes, they're going to take you over to North Little Rock. And I was like, all right. And he goes, you want to smoke one more? I was like, please, please. He goes, you can't smoke there.
We're headed to 3K. Right, you go to 3K?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I gotta be honest with you. So that was probably that was the most depressing area in the world. And I told them while I was in there, I was like, you know, if I wasn't suicidal before, I would be here leaving.
Yeah, yeah. It's,
I mean, it's dark. You know, I'm not trying to bash you guys, but paint the rooms, do something. I mean, brighten it on up. Infantry blue on the walls, do something.
oh, yeah.
Nice
I mean,
yellow.
yeah.
Yellow.
Oh no, it's like that weird hospital ugly yellow on the walls. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's not white because you know it's too blinding, but it's like that soft yellow. And there's what was funny that, and I felt bad. It's not really funny, but guys, there's nothing to do, and you would just see these vets walk up and down the hall in non-stop circles. And like my first night there, by the time I got there, they already had dinner, so I got a snack. And I was sitting there by myself, and this guy came and sat, you know, at the table with me. And he's like, hey man, how are you? I was like, I'm good. I figured, well, we're all here for the same reason. And but no, he was actually like, you know, he was trying to, like, you know, recover, you know, going through addictions and everything. And he was all excited because he was getting ready to go down to the second floor.
2L.
Yeah, 2L. So that's where he's getting ready to go down. And I was like, man, that's awesome. And like that morning, we had breakfast together. And like, hey, whatever's going on with you, you know, good luck to you. And he was gone. I was like, no idea what your name is, but you are my one friend. And, you know, they kept giving me nicotine patches, and they were like, we're going to put you on this, we're going to put you on that. And I was really not wanting to be put on anything. And as soon as they did, I felt more depressed and suicidal on that medication they gave me, to where, you know, because, and I will say this, so when I even was checked out, the VA did, I mean, my phone blew up. I mean, seriously, I got cards from the VA. I got phone calls. Hey, Matthew, how you doing? You doing okay? Everything going all right? You having any issues? What can we do to help you out? You know, like, okay, I'm doing better, but this medication sucks. Because I feel funny. I kind of feel
And
like,
some medications will cause suicide medication. So,
Yes, and that's where I need to interject, is
Yeah.
that medications don't work for everybody. I had to do a gene testing because my body does not metabolize most medications in general.
maybe that's my problem.
So there's, and it's a cheek swab, 2 weeks, send out, whatever, no big deal, right?
But the VA's not going to do that.
And no, but they'll cover a portion of it. Yes, you're going to be out of pocket on it. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm out of pocket on it to a degree, and I have civilian insurance, you know, kind of thing. But, and I mean, good civilian insurance. But it's the best test you can ever do because it takes away the guessing game. My body can't metabolize certain things due to my DNA and my makeup, you know what I mean? So it cuts out a lot of the guesswork. So I know people say, I don't want to be on medication, I don't want to do this, I want to do that. If you are depressed, there is a serotonin imbalance in your body. That does not go away by thinking everything's great. You know, it does not happen. And you may not have to be on medication forever, but you're definitely going to have to be on medication for a certain point. But to get beyond that, you have to go through therapy. You have to work through your trauma, whatever that is.
You gotta go through what you go through.
You have to, yes, exactly. And once you get that done, so instead of like, you may be put on a very bad medication at first, and then like a lot of people are like, never do that again. And I fully understand that because I've been there.
So they put me in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
I went in going, hey guys, I did reach out to those 10. Hey, I'm not feeling right. I'm having some problems. I'm kind of struggling out here a little bit. Boom, they put me, I can't remember what they put me on. And I was like, okay. And I was working for Schwann's at the time. And I will never forget this. I'm driving my Schwann truck. And I'm thinking, if I just take this truck and steer it this way, I could go. I'm like, what is wrong with me? I was like, oh, no. So I stopped taking it. And I was like, okay, all right, maybe I don't have a problem. Maybe it's the medication's the problem.
Exactly.
And so when I went, last year and I went in to put me on, I was going, okay, I'll try y'all one more time. And, I'm not going to name drop his name. We were just there.
Yeah.
last night. So what they put me on, and he goes, I'm on that. And I'll be honest with you, he's like one of the biggest, baddest dudes I mean, seriously, you know what I mean, this is a guy you want with you in a dark alley.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's nobody going to be bigger than him in a dark alley.
Yeah.
So when he told me that he was on it, and he told me the reason why, and I was like, oh, I didn't know. I didn't know that you would, law enforcement. I didn't know. And he goes, yeah, it was that bad. So I had to get put on this stuff. And he goes, but yeah, I'm good. I was like, okay. So I tried it and was working it, but I kept filling off. And so when I did talk to the VA, they were like, okay, I think you're good now. You're good to come off of it. And I was like, okay, so they did have to wean me off of it.
That's the number. So you're gonna write it down.
Okay, so this is the number for y'all?
Yeah.
855. I'm glad you did that.
Yeah.
932-7384. So here in Arkansas, you guys, the phone number to reach on out to for the We Are the 22 is 855-932-7384. Again, 855-932-7384. And this will be in the show notes. Sorry, that was I know.
Yeah.
No. So we've talked about how we got to where we're at. Let's talk about what would have happened if it had succeeded. And that's where you come in.
That is where I come in.
And this is going to be the tough one. Wow, that was a fast break, wasn't it?
It was
That was great. Super
lightning
fast.
speed.
It's lightning speed for y'all out there. TV
Yes.
land, lightning speed. So we have covered what happens when you're going into these feelings. And here's the thing, too. So I did want to specify before we go any further. One, it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel defeated. It's okay to feel beat up. And it's okay to feel like you can't take another step. But it's not okay to quit. And that's what we're here to talk about. Quitting's not going to help out. There's too many programs right now, and again, I was bragging about the VA earlier before I went on break. The VA did step up a lot last year and was double checking in on me a lot. I mean, my phone was
Great. That's great.
I was really proud of our VA at that time. The first time, and seriously, I can say I was really proud of the VA. And again, since I, woke up, I hate saying that, I hate using that term, woke up, but ever since, when I tried my attempt, I mean, life is great. I mean, it is. I mean, I would not have the people around me that I have around me today if I'd have gone all the way through it.
Yep.
And that's a fact. And that's something
I
too.
wouldn't have met you.
I would, yeah. Exactly. I mean, I knew Tommy, but I would never met you. Well, now look at us. I mean,
Yeah.
you're like the sister that I never wanted, and I'm stuck with. And
Exactly.
I'm the brother you never wanted,
Exactly.
and you're welcome.
Yes.
Because that's how brothers are.
Annoying.
But we have our own little family,
do.
friend bond thing, and that's
Our
a cool.
kids are like siblings.
Oh, God.
It's great. Yeah.
Let's not talk about Jensen and Sammy.
Let's not. That's a different episode.
Sure is.
Yeah.
So my little girl and their little
We're doing
boy
a different episode.
have
That's not- yeah.
little crushes on each other.
That
Same
is
grades.
Not allowed.
No, it's quite comical. So,
Yeah.
but before we go into you,
Yeah.
I'm going to cover. We spoke last night with a retired investigator, homicide investigator.
Yes.
Okay, so when these things happen, homicide gets called in and stuff like that. And he was going to be on today, but he unfortunately got sick. I mean, there's strep going around right now, so I have no idea. So, you know who you are. I hope you're feeling better, brother. But he was going to come on and talk a little bit about the law enforcement side when they come onto the scene of a full-blown, completion, suicide. And what was heartbreaking last night when he was talking to us was, he said, you have no idea the amount of money families spend on private investigators, researchers, because they have a hard time grasping. So if you take a look, so let's look at some of the celebrities, right?
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams is one. Okay, so I mean, seriously, who would have ever thought that Robin Williams would have committed suicide? Our position, Robin Williams is happy-go-lucky, so obviously the family's going to think. So if you're constantly portraying out there again, Matthew's got this. So I can tell you right now, they probably right the bet like, "Oh, that's impossible. That would never happen." No. Somebody got to him.
Conspiracy.
Right, because they have a hard time grasping. So the families are in such denial of it, where they spend money thousands of dollars and go broke and go into debt to hire these people who were pretty much vultures to take in the money to come back, sometime later to confirm already what the law enforcement officers came out and said, yeah, here's the note. They can't do it. And, to where that was something I never thought of.
Well, today, red flags for me is somebody who is a comedian. And,
I'm in trouble.
especially guys who've been through traumatic events. You were just alluding to it earlier when you were saying that you would fall and you would turn into a joke.
Yeah.
Somebody who's been through a lot of pain and has been through traumatic events and depression and things like that, they know how bad it feels to experience that, so they want to make everyone happy around them. And all
Well,
that
not
is a
only
deflection.
that too is I have a mentor at work, and I was going through I was explaining my home life and the medical issues we're having with my husband and stuff, and the stressors that it's put on our family, and saying like I have to be 100% on at work all the time, I have to be 100% on at home all the time because there is nobody else right now that can do both, and that's not bad, but that's just my reality. And I smile and I laugh to it, and he goes, well, at least you're smiling, at least you're laughing. And I
So I
said,
want
and
to
that
pause
is
you real quick on that one.
functioning depression.
So I'm going to pause you real quick. So, as a suicide attemptee, what you just said, we know. So being physically hurt and disabled and not being able to fully function the way that we should function, we see that. And we see that other people step up and fill in where we should be filling in. And we feel inadequate. And that's where we feel like if I wasn't here, if I wasn't a burden. And that's where that comes from. And it's not because, so I understand, I'm with you on that one. I'm 100%. It's where,
You know I've had 3 attempts, right?
Do what?
You know I've had 3 attempts, right?
No, you never told me that. So you're attempting and the circle and the
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're a double
trust
survivor.
me, I understand.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's the biggest thing that, like, especially that's why I brought up Robin Williams. Like, so everybody thinks, oh, he's a comedian, he's a millionaire, he's making good money. Like, what could be his problems? Trust me, everybody has problems, and I will laugh it off all day long. And everybody at work thinks I'm just so happy-go-lucky, and it is what it is, because they don't know that I'm dying inside, and that's what I want them to feel. I want them to feel like, oh, Nicole's great, everything's great, it's everything's peachy keen, because I don't want your pity, okay? I don't want any of that. I don't want your sympathy, I don't want your pity. I just want to make it through today and just leave me alone and let me survive. So that's how that goes, kind of thing. So it's very important that, like, it's the people, and when I get into my story, you'll understand, the people that you least expect are the ones that are going to commit suicide. And I live with that guilt every day. So to give everybody else some background.
Good segue.
So I grew up in a very snowy town just outside of Erie, PA. And we're a bunch of farmers' kids. There are more cows in my hometown than there are people. So trust me, our parents, all our friends, and like they all had kids, and then we're all friends. Like, it's a weird dynamic, but I guess it's still normal down here in Arkansas.
I'm from Plain City, Utah. Trust me, I know. Yep.
So I moved out of PA. I lived down here in Arkansas. I moved to Miami. I moved back up to PA. I've made my rounds a few times, right? So in 2015, I moved back up to PA to help some family out with some medical problems and stuff like that. And I reconnected with a kid that I grew up with. Now, I was his wrestling cheerleader. And boy, side note, if y'all don't know any wrestlers and how to cover, listen, I would feed them all the brownies in the world, like, after they weighed in. I'm like, please eat. Like, I can count your ribs. Like, please eat. Like, so that was me. But at the time, I looked at Keith as just, oh, you're Steven's little brother, because Steven and I were the same grade. Keith was the grade below me, and he was the middle of 5 boys. So that's just who he was when I was in high school. And then we reconnected after I moved back up there. Like I said, small town. We have 3 bars though, so we clearly have priorities there. And you know, so
We have one in Plain City.
yeah. So he played guitar with his best friend and all that, and we started dating without my family knowing, because there are certain people in my family that would do anything to ruin a good thing in my life. And I can't believe to this day that he respected my wishes of keeping it between me and him until I knew that we were out of the woodwork with the drama that was going on with my family at the time.
So let me just cover that part right there for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And for personal reasons right now,
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty commendable, and that's good dedication and understanding to where if someone's going to be in a relationship like that, and understanding that there is going to be drama when it does come out,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding and willing to be patient, that's pretty commendable on his part.
Yeah, because he was a mama's boy, so I thought for sure his mom knew. Like, I was like, there ain't no way you're gonna tell your mom. Like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But he didn't. Surprise, we found that out. Long story short, we started dating undercover, basically. And he had gone for some testing. Like I said, he was a wrestler, so he has had more concussions than we can probably count on our hands. And he was tested for Bell's palsy. And he didn't so he was saving up money to buy his own house, so he moved back in with his parents, which in my community is very normal. Like, I grew up in a very Italian area, even though we're not Italian. It's very normal for kids to live with their parents and help take care of them.
So how is that possible in a very Italian area, but you're not Italian? So everybody else is Italian, but you're not?
So we have Italian, we have Polish, we
Gotcha.
have German. Like, it's a
Well, it's
melting
PA,
pot.
yeah.
It's a culture.
Yeah. But
No,
it's
just what you
just-
said
Yeah,
there.
it is. It's the culture that, but normally Italians are the ones that keep their family in, so that's why I bring that up. But anyway, so he moved back in with his parents, a split level house. He had the basement, well, it's not the basement, but the bottom level of the house there. And he was bankrolling some money. He was an electrician. He was studying to take the next whatever level it is to make some better money, kind of thing. I was working at a warehouse, doing my job, going crazy every day. And that was just our lives. Like, we had wing night, we had this and that, we'd hang out all the time. It was what it is. Like, even if we didn't see each other every day, we were on the phone every day, whatever. He was studying for this exam in May. I was doing billing and getting ready for end of month and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. It's my job that requires, 12, 14-hour days. So the night that it happened to be May 19th, which is the anniversary of me graduating college, which is supposed to be a very happy day in your life, especially in a family that said that you'd never do it. And so I graduated May 19th of 2012. So May 19th of 2016, Keith was sitting in the living room of the bottom half of the house, and he shot himself in the chest with his own gun. Now, he was aiming for his heart for it to be instant. And I promise you, if he was here today, he would tell you, and I know he would never do it to his head, because he always said this was his moneymaker. Okay? So that's key, So I fully believe that. So he was still responsive. This was at 1:30 in the morning. He screamed when the shot went off because he missed. And it woke up his parents, and they came downstairs, and they found him in the living room downstairs. And they called 911. We are a volunteer firefighter area with medics and everything else, so it takes a little bit to get a response at 1:30 in the morning, But they made it there. He was still responsive the whole time. He told his brothers, like, I love you. He was telling his mom, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. He meant to, but he was trying to make his mother feel better, because that's what he knows would make her feel okay about it. like, not okay, but as good as she's gonna feel about the situation. His eyes went gray, his skin was starting to turn gray. The paramedics did mess up. They did tell his parents that he was gonna make it. And we are 30 minutes away from the nearest hospital. And they got him into surgery, but because of where the bullet was and everything else, he was not gonna survive surgery, so they pronounced him dead in the operating room. So it was a Wednesday night, and I came home just wiped from work, and I passed out, and I did not call him like I normally would, and he didn't call me, and it was just one of those things, right? So I was like, oh, no big deal, I'll call him in the morning. So Thursday morning, I go into work like normal. We both got up and worked between 5 and 6 a.m. So in MPA, there's a lot of deer. So there's a lot of deer accidents, which leads into the fact that when my cousin texted me at 9:30 in the morning saying, hey, did you hear about Keith? Hi, baby. I was like, what do you mean? Like, no. And she goes, you need to get on Facebook. And so I got on Facebook, and there was a lot of weird postings of like, I'm so sorry, Keith, you know, prayers, da da da. And I was like, okay. So I texted his little brother, and I was like, Bobby, what's up? Like, where is, like, did he get hit by a deer on his way into work this morning? Like, what happened? And he calls me crying, and he's like, Nicole, he's gone.
Hey, Mommy.
I said, yes, baby. I said, what do you mean he's gone? Nicole, I went out with my friends and he shot himself in the living room. I was like, listen, Bobby, that's not a funny story. So let's not joke. Like, what really happened? He's like, I'm not kidding, Nicole. He's dead. So that hit you like a ton of bricks. So I bawled my eyes out. Obviously, left work for the day and all that kind of stuff. It turned into a lot. So if we fast forward, he was eventually cremated. His parents did do a viewing though before we did the cremation, and it was in the church that I grew up in actually. So there was like a curtain that separated like the waiting area versus like where you'd walk into the viewing area, just because it was like an open area. And when I woke up the morning, so technically, yes, he died Thursday morning, you know. When I woke up that morning, the Florida-Georgia line, Holy, was stuck in my head. It was brand new out. I hated that song because all I could hear is holy, holy, holy. Like, I just thought it was irritating, you know, stuck in my head. So I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I wake up with songs in my head all the time. It's not a thing. So we get to the showing. It's on the following Tuesday. And my best friend comes down from Buffalo to be with me. We all went to school together. And as soon as we walked through those curtains, Holy came on. And she looked at me and she goes, that was him telling you. I said, yep, you're probably right. It really was. And so I bawled and I got up there and I said my goodbyes. And yes, I kissed a dead body. It is what it is. I was going to spend my life with this man. He was the best thing ever in my book. And, you know, I guess life had other plans. So 2 days later after that, my gram had been in a nursing home for a couple of years. She had Alzheimer's, same hometown. And my real mother, we were speaking at the time, she called me and told me, I don't think Graham's gonna make it. You need to come say your goodbyes. And I said, well, do I need to leave now? Can I finish work? Like, it's kind of an odd time of the month and I'm kind of busy, you know? She goes, no, you can probably finish work. Just make sure you leave by like 3:30 or so. All right. So I left at 3:30. First thing I do when I get in my vehicle is try to call Keith. And that's when it hits me that I can't call Keith because he's not going to answer. Because he's an asshole, right? And I cry the whole 30-minute drive down to the nursing home to see my Graham. And the best part is I walk into the nursing home and all of his flowers are in my grandmother's nursing home. So I see they donated all of them, because we're going to do all these flowers, right? So they donated all of his flowers from the funeral to my grandmother's nursing home. So I go sit in her room, and now, mind you, my grandfather had passed, her husband, in 2014. I took care of him until he died. He made me leave the state to die, and I did. I respected his wishes. But I knew it was time. She was in the 10th stage of death by the time I got there. They put her in an Ativan-induced coma so that because she was doing the death reach. Called in the family. Pretty much everybody made it except for my one uncle. He was over a truck driver, couldn't get here in time because he was in Nebraska or something far away, So I had my time. When I showed up, I was the only one in there, and I sat down in a chair, those ugly ass chairs, and I felt somebody push me back in the chair and give me a hug, and I knew it was him. And I said out loud, I said, "You're an asshole because you're not here. You fucking chose to not be here knowing that my gran is not doing good. Knowing that there was nothing we couldn't have fucking figured out." I'm sorry, I don't want anything to have to bleep out of this. But there's nothing we couldn't have figured out, and yet you chose that route. So great. Thank you for that. So my grandmother's birthday was May 28th. She passed, this was May 26th when I got the call. She passed on the morning of May 27th. So May 28th, she would have been 80 years old. My family is kind of crazy, so they were taking beds around her like she couldn't hear them. And I said, listen, this is not a casino, and she can hear us. So she needs to go spend her birthday with Gramps, and they need to go up. They used to polka dance when I was a kid and stuff like that. They need to go have a beer, polka dance, do what they need to do, and have a great time, And so we got through that. It is what it is. I found out after, it took his mom a couple of weeks to go through his room, and we found the testing that had come back and he was positive for Bell's palsy. And because he was so stubborn, I have no idea why we got along,
No, not at all.
Because he was so stubborn. At that point in time, in 2016, there wasn't a lot of treatment for Bell's palsy. It was a death sentence. So he did not want to ever be a burden to anybody. So he decided that this was the best way to go, and that he wanted to take himself out so that nobody else would ever have to take care of him, and that he wouldn't have to be the burden to somebody else. So he is the middle child of 5 brothers, as I stated. He was the glue to the family because all 5 boys very different, and he was always the peacemaker. If 2 of them were fighting, he's like, "No, guys, it's fine, and he would work it out. He was always happy-go-lucky. He was always cracking jokes. The last time I actually saw him alive was 2 days before he passed away. We had been it was wing night at the bar, so we had our wings, and we had a friend that get too drunk, so we went and dropped that friend off down the street, and I knew I had to get up late. It was 11 o'clock, and I was wiped. And he's like, "Nicole, come in, just have one more beer." And I was like, "Man, I can't tonight. I'm so tired, and I've got a 20-minute drive back home. I'm out tonight, but I'll catch you next time." And he's like, "Okay." Hugged him, gave him a kiss, whatever. Left, went home. That's the last time I saw him alive. And to this day, I think about what would have happened if I would have had that one more beer, because his youngest brother, Paul, who I call Paulie, For like the previous 3 months before Keith committed suicide, he had Paul's first like real girlfriend, and she broke up with him and like crushed him. And Paul was not handling it well. And so he always looked at me like long on and was like, you promised me if anything ever happens to me, you take care of my brother. So I got you. Like, we're all family, got you. So after he committed suicide, I wouldn't let Paul leave my hip because I knew exactly what he would do, you know. Anywhere I went, I don't care if it was to Walmart. Hey, Paul, we're going to Walmart. Let's go. You know, suck it up, like, you know, kind of thing. But it got him through a lot. His mom and I are still very close. She buys stuff for my daughter. We check in all the time. Like, I'm the daughter she never had, in her words. And she's the mother-in-law that I never had. Like, she is my whole family, and her husband too, like his dad. Like, they're amazing people, and it shattered them. I mean, he has 2 older brothers that are drug addicts. One's clean, one is kind of clean when he wants to be. The younger 2 are great. They're doing well. They're prosperous. But that doesn't change the fact that there's a missing hole in the family. That doesn't change the fact that even though I have a great husband now who does produce your podcast and everything, that I don't sit here and think every day about what could have been, you know, like if he wouldn't have done that, if I would have just called him, would it have changed his mind? If, you know, and his brothers had the same thing. Bobby was going out, the next youngest brother, he was going out with his friends. He was like, if I would have just stayed. And Paul was like, if I wasn't going to bed, if I would have just stayed up with him, like it wouldn't have happened. Like he would still be here. And it's tough because he's not. And while I love my husband dearly, I don't want anybody to think anything different. It's one of the hardest things to be is to be a survivor of somebody that has committed suicide, because you wish that you could have done something to fix it. Whether or not you could have, we'll never know. But eerily, it kind of got me stronger in my faith of what's meant to be will be. There are some people that will tell you if you commit suicide, you go to hell. I don't believe that. I believe that God puts people in your lives for a reason. I believe that God puts you in situations for a reason. And it is what it is, you know what I mean? Like, he's one of the best things and one of the worst things, I guess, that's ever happened to me. But overall, he's one of the best things because I had such happiness with him growing up. I had such happiness with him while we were together. And ultimately, I'm still happy because I have a beautiful little girl and I have an amazing husband and I have a great life now. Whether that was going to be with or without him, I still feel in my heart that somehow it was supposed to happen. And I say that not to say that you should do it. That is not the thing. I'm just saying that is probably my coping mechanism to make it okay in my heart that the guy that I love dearly and I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with decided that nothing else was more important than not being a burden to somebody. And instead of talking to any of us, he took matters into his own hands and he crushed the lives of, there were hundreds. Almost the whole town was there. I'm not kidding. At the funeral. He touched so many lives and he had no idea. So for everybody that thinks that like they don't matter or nobody will miss me or anything like that, like I promise you, somebody does. Whether you didn't see them for 20 years and maybe you played soccer with them when you were 7 years old, you made an impact in that person's life. Whether you were dating them and you broke up, and it could have been an ugly breakup, doesn't matter. You made an impact in that person's life. Think about your parents. Nobody should have to bury their son or their daughter, whatever the case may be. In my case, I watched Keith's parents bury their son. And that's hard. I watched his brothers cry burying their brother, who wasn't even 30. So it's not the answer. It's not. Like, things can always be worse. Things can always be better. But there are resources out there, and like, and if you don't feel like you have somebody in your life that has your back 100% or can be there to understand it, like, there are resources. Like, you call the suicide hotline, you call a buddy. Like, even if you think that they're gonna think that you are bonkers out of your mind, you make that call, because I promise you, it is the difference between living life in general and surviving something, or really creating mass destruction. Like, that sounds dramatic, but it really is. Like, he obliterated my entire life and the goal I had the night that he chose to shoot himself in the chest. We were going to have kids together. We were going to get married. I was willing to stay in PA, and I hate the snow. I was out. I was going to stay because he was that close to his family. I was like, I guess we can got to compromise. And that's why I'm in Arkansas. But
Not a lot of snow.
But yeah, so, and when it does snow, we don't have to work, so it's great.
It's true.
But it's just a lot. And it's not, I don't know. I can't say enough. You are not a burden to anybody. And trust me, I know what it feels like to feel like you're the burden. I promise. And if people want to reach out to me on the side, I don't care. I will talk to you. It does not matter. If you have nobody else, like, please reach out to me, because you do matter. Your life matters, and nothing is invalidated. Like, you could come from the worst circumstances, and you could turn around and be better than Mark Cuban. Okay, you just have to put your mind to it. You have to overcome the situation that you were put in, and you got to have that passion. You got to find that drive. You got to really, really dig deep and just keep going, because if I didn't do that, yeah, no, there's no way I'd be here. Trust me. 3 times thought about it. Really hard. Really hard. But I knew at the same time that that's not what I wanted. Is it because I felt like I just wanted the pain to stop, right? That's all I wanted. I wanted the pain to stop. And I didn't feel like there was another option. Like, the only way for the pain to stop is for me to not physically be breathing anymore. And you don't think, like, my dad would be destroyed. Like, I'm daddy's little girl still, you know. You don't think about any of that, because in that moment you're like, I'm drowning and I don't know what to do. So in that instance, after I was drowning in Keith's death, I had a freshly filled prescription of Ambien, because I have really bad insomnia. And I looked at it and I said, you know what? I could take all 30 of these and never wake up. And work might call the next day, I won't answer, whatever. Eventually somebody will come check on me. I don't care, but I won't be here. It'll be painless for me, and I don't want to feel the pain. Now, because I've been in therapy since I was 8, I know that's not the right answer. So I called one of my very good friends. We also work at the same place. And I was like, I am so sorry. It's like 11 o'clock at night, and like we get up super early. So I was like, sorry. She was like, no, like what's wrong? Like, I know you're always asleep. Like, why are you calling? And I was like, Amber, if I take these pills, I'll just never wake up and everything will be better. And I said, and I know that's the wrong answer. So I need you to stay on the phone with me until the doctor's office opens in the morning. They open at 8. I said, I will call my doctor's office to make an appointment to get back on depression medication because I was off of it. And I said, I'll also call my counselor that I see off and on and make an appointment to get in with her. And she did. She stayed up all night with me. I mean, and even to the point to where I had a 30-minute drive into work, and I was getting off the phone with her. I was like, I got it, Amber. Like, you're already working. Like, I'll be at work in 30 minutes. And she's like, are you sure? Because I can stay on the phone with you. I said, no, I promise you I will be there. And I said, and if you question me, you call me at any point in time. I said, but I promise you, I'm in my truck. I'm on my way to work. I'll be there in 30 minutes. And I was, and she went, as soon as it hit 8 o'clock, she looked at me and she said, Nicole, go call the doctor. And I was like, okay, got up, call the doctor, and that's what it is. Like, so there is a differentiation between, yes, I have the feelings, but I also know the repercussions of them and what happens, so I know how to identify that that's not how you should react necessarily, and I guess I'm fortunate in that aspect, as twisted as that is to say. But yeah, I didn't want my dad to feel the pain that I felt, that Keith's parents felt. I didn't want that. I didn't want somebody to explain to my little brother that his sister took a bottle of pills and killed herself, in her house by herself. I didn't want any of that. So I did the best thing I could, and I got help, and there's lots of ways to get help, kind of thing. So it doesn't, even though I fixed myself for the most part, I still struggle. I still go to therapy. I still struggle with depression and anxiety. I have my own form of PTSD that's different from being in combat.
Well, no, like we covered that earlier.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, that right there alone is PTSD.
Yeah.
And Michael will back me on that one. So what you just went through, that is PTSD.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, I'll back up a little bit, like Daddy's Girl.
Mm-hmm.
So my daughter Blakely, in 2016, I believe, the night before Halloween, she called me. It was me and Terry were hanging out, and we were hanging out at Brewski's. What was it? Fox and the Head, Washington Sunday Night Football. Halloween was on a Monday, and she was like, "Hey, Dad." And so as a parent, I'll tell you right now, it's the hardest phone call I've ever gotten. And she said, "Hey, Dad." I said, "Hey, what's up?" I said, "We were just talking about you." And me and Terry had just been talking about her. And she says, "I'm in the hospital." And of course, being the dad, first comment I made was, "So whose butt do I got to go kick?
Right.
What do I got to do?" And she made one statement, and I knew, and that was, she said, "Mine." And I went, "Okay, what happened?" And she had tried to call me the night before, like 1:30 in the morning. And I woke up, saw it was a missed call. I was like, "Oh, she's out drinking, she's having a good time. I've got her little sister. I'll talk to you later." I mean, because that's what she would do. She would call me, and then I went, "Hey, Dad, this is what we're doing. Have a good time. Love that." That kind of thing.
Right.
Party time. And no, that wasn't a party time. And so, 2 days later, I was out in eastern Tennessee, at the hospital, stuff like that, and me and her mom bringing her out here to Arkansas and stuff. And it was a very hard call to get and grounding.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I can't say much because I tried it, last year. So, but yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the hardest part, so like my escape was, they have a camp that's about 45 minutes away. There's no cell phone reception, it's close. But we took part of his ashes and we planted a tree at camp with him, and some of his friends made a swing, and it says in memory of Keith, you know, and it's the Corey boys, you know, whatever. Man, those hard days, I'd drive down there, I'd sit there with a beer. He drank Bud Light, so I started drinking Bud Light, and I'd sit there and I would scream and cry at a tree. Because he was underneath it. And
So you get hunted force, I'm just saying. Sorry, I had to throw the cryptid thing in there. So you get hunted force.
You know, whatever, I do have his ashes. His mom didn't pull them away, so some of them are in camp, some of them are at her house. I have some of them. And what's funny in a twisted way is when she was giving me the ashes, when she opened it up out of the china cabinet, some of it fell on the floor, like on the rug. And she goes, "Damn it, Keith, you're still creating messes." And so she's like, "I'm going to vacuum your ass up." Like, you know, kind of thing. So I have a little urn with him. I have the flannel that is the last shirt that I saw him alive in. I have a lot of his stuff, honestly. I have his hoodie. I have a lot of stuff. It is what it is. But to have a supporting husband who's not, hey, let's be honest, this man is dead. He is not coming back. Okay.
So let me talk about this husband of yours that you have. So real quick about this topic, actually. So
yeah.
He has brought this up to me numerous times, and about how it has affected you, what you've been through, what you've gone through. Numerous times, me and him have talked about it, and to where he is honestly just wants to be there to make sure that you're okay. And he is in no, I mean, there's no bitterness, like, you know, what, you know what I mean?
No.
He is right there. For like the other day, you know, because we knew this day was getting closer and we'd be able to talk about it. And, you know, he told me, he goes, yeah, she's kind of getting anxious about it and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I'm sorry. I just tell her I'm thankful that she's coming on the share, because I do want people to understand to where, you know, when you do go all the way through this stuff, I mean, yeah, your story doesn't end. The pain doesn't end. Yours might. But there's a whole ton of people who are affected. And you may not think that you matter, but there is somebody out there right now that does look up to you, and you don't even know it. There are people right now who will try and call you tomorrow just because. Not even, it's where you don't even realize that stuff until you go and you get to that point. And I'm grateful that I'm here. I'm extremely grateful. You know, and I know you're grateful to still be here as well. I mean, you're talking about what a great wife you have right now and everything going on, you know, that you have. And, you know, yes, you know, when you struggle with this, I mean, it's not you're okay. That doesn't happen. And you have to fight still. Mm-hmm. But that's what we're here to do, is a fight. Mm-hmm. You know, whether you were doing what we did or work in a warehouse, you still have to fight, or work as a welder. You still have to fight, because there are so many beautiful things in this world. Like I love a greasy cheeseburger. You know what I mean? You know, that greasy good cheeseburger, got everything loaded on there, and you take a bite out of it, and all the stuff is running down your arms. You know, it's that 85-degree weather outside. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, the sun is shining.
I just gained 10 pounds.
You're welcome. You know, but I mean, seriously, and you know, and I do enjoy beverage, you know, adult beverage, you know, so sitting there at the river or at a lake, you know, and casting your line in, you know, or how about, you know, I'm a Star Wars fan. I know. I'm a big Star Wars fan. So there's like new Star Wars stuff coming. Like, I want to see that. But I also want to see my little girl fall in love.
Yeah.
I want to see my little boy discover a new buck.
Right.
I want to have an award-winning podcast with my best friends.
Yeah.
I want to be going to the woods looking for Bigfoot with my best friends. I want to be traveling to other states to meet up with other shows, to go look at a haunted house and get my opinion on. You know, of all things, and what's funny is that I'm known now for Bigfoot and ghosts in Arkansas.
That's awesome.
Who would have known?
I was just want to give you some comforting, what you said earlier about a lot of people, the misconception about people say that the ultimate sin is completing suicide and not being able to ask for forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And we've all been told that.
Mm-hmm.
In the Bible, it says that God knew the very hair that was on your head before you was even born. So it's very arrogant for us to think that God didn't already know this was in the plans.
Exactly.
So it's wordplay.
And I can promise you, there's, going back to your paranormal side, most of my family in general will let me know, like when they pass and they cross over and stuff like that, they'll let me know that they're okay. He's okay. He's pain-free. That's what he needed. Whether he repented for his sins before he did it or whatnot, or like you said, it's God's plan. For whatever reason, he fulfilled his obligation to this earth at a very early age.
Well, let me pause it there real quick. So, do you want to run with that, or would you rather have him here?
Depends on the day.
You know what I mean?
No, I mean, obviously,
I mean,
would
understand
always,
Tommy, understand everything
yeah,
that's going
like,
on, but
let's
I mean,
not take that.
yeah, let's not take Tommy
I
out of
love
the equation.
Tommy,
Yeah.
like, don't anybody take that wrong.
No,
I'm very
and he
grateful for
wouldn't
my
though.
daughter,
But if it
you
came
know?
down, you know, but I mean,
But if
seriously,
it came down to it,
would you rather have gone through that, or would you rather him be here?
the easy route is to always have him be here, but I've never had an easy life. So while it hurts, I still would say I would choose this life because everything I've been through makes me who I am, and I am a strong, independent woman because of the things that I've gone through.
You would have
I
done
am
the same thing
able
with him
to-
by helping him out with Bell's palsy.
I would have.
You would have been right there doing the same
My
thing.
daughter probably would have blonde hair and blue eyes like I wanted her
See,
to.
there you go.
But
You get the point on what I'm trying to make.
oh, I get the
Okay.
point.
Yeah, so
I'm
it's
just
easier,
telling-
I mean,
it's-
the tough choice is not to do it.
Yes. Yeah.
Instead of thinking that their life is gonna get better without you. And
Yeah.
that's a key thing right there.
There would
Is
be
it-
a lot less pain without him making that decision, 100%. However, believing in my faith, I have to believe that that is what was meant to be, whether I like it or not.
Well, you know, so my theory on the whole religious side of suicide is this, is that one, I don't think it's a sin. I don't. I do believe that it is a battle.
Yeah.
And I have to come to this from a military, you know, perspective. It is a battle that you're into when you're dealing with this. And, you know, I hate using the terms our own demons and stuff like that because it's not, we don't have our own demons. You know, that's a horrible term to use, and it's a great excuse, you know, for people to use. We just smiled at about this, but but we use these. You know, societies came out with these topics. Oh, I'm battling my own demons. No, you don't have demons. You know, you're struggling with a difficult issue and a difficult time right now, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The thing about it is that acknowledgement is the first step. I'm hurting. Okay, cool. You're hurting. All right. What's hurting? Okay, so once we identify that you're hurting, okay, let's address what's hurting. Okay, cool. So now that's hurting. All right, let's start looking at what we have to do to try to ease that, fix that, work on that. And a lot of us still, you know, have chronic illness. I'm now, you know, disabled. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's one of those constant things I will wake up with every single day. You know, and it's what I'm talking to your husband about. And trying to get him to understand, because that's my big concern. Is this is a new way of life now and it's hard to adjust to. But I'm hurting. These are the issues. So moving forward, if I'd have gone all the way through it, I would have, with just in the over a year of so much I would have missed. I went back to Utah this summer. I haven't seen my family in over 20 years. I went back and saw them. Hadn't seen my sisters. I met nephews and nieces that I'd never met before, you know, and seeing them light up and be so excited. It's where my one nephew emails me once a week. Hey, Uncle Matt. Hey, Uncle
That's
Matt.
good.
He found out I had a Gmail, you know, for the show. He's like, I have a Gmail. You know, he was so excited. And it reminds me so much of Ben. You know, so when I saw him, I was like, oh, Ben and Tony are both going, oh. When he was Sam, he goes, oh, that's Ben, my little boy. I would have missed that. You know, I would have missed I don't know how many fire pits have we had? Just the past year. How many?
A lot.
A lot. How many? I mean, seriously, how many fire pits? I
Probably
would
over
have
100.
missed Aaron Rodgers being the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I would have
He
never would have
would've
thought.
He would have missed me writing Raider Nation.
I got a better
on
one.
his
You know what I would have missed?
horrible
You know what else? You know what else I would have missed?
Bar.
You know what else I would have missed? Perform the ceremony to get you and Tommy married.
That is true.
I would have missed that. Yeah, I performed that with the on my minister.
And I wouldn't have been able to.
And you would have been able to do that for my wedding.
Yep.
You know, so much that we would have missed. You know, and I'm sure you have a ton too.
Yeah.
And what you missed, you're bragging about what I love hearing about you bragging about your wife and everything going on before we started recording. And watching you through Facebook, and I don't even know how we became friends on Facebook. To be honest, but I don't know. It was, I mean, because this is our first meeting, but we've been friends on Facebook I think for about a year now.
So it was official.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we're official.
Facebook
Yeah. So it's
official.
Facebook official. But again, I do believe that God puts us and people and circumstances in our path for a reason. And, you know, I hate using that term, either you're a blessing or a lesson.
Yep.
And that's how I'm viewing things now. So if you're a lesson, okay, cool, this is my lesson I gotta learn. I got you. All right? You're a blessing, wonderful. And I'm truly blessed. The circle of friends that I have around me, and he's walking around the corner right now, to where I could call Jacob at 2 o'clock in the morning, and Jacob will come running. You know? Vince the same thing, Tony the same thing. I mean, well, what's funny is that, you know, because we all drive Jeeps, except for, you know, Jacob and y'all. That's pretty much
Exactly.
it.
Track like a real though. Yeah. A diesel.
Anyways, we all drive Jeeps. But, I mean, it's just like Talina and Mariah refer to us as the Jeepers. The Jeepers are going to come showing on up, but there's a mechanical issue. We all come driving on up on our Jeeps.
Yeah.
You know, we had Cryptids of the Corn. I mean, I did a live show with Cryptids of the Corn. A huge podcast, great guys. And as soon as they pulled into town, they got here in Arkansas, flat tire. And Vince goes, are they here? I said, yeah, man, they got a flat tire. Vince was there in a matter of 10 minutes and plugging the tire for them. I didn't have to tell him to come plug it. I was going to try and plug it, trying to figure it out, because Jacob was on his way over, and Vince just showed on up, plugged the tire, said, hey, man, it's nice meeting you, and left. It's Vince. That's my buddy Vince, you know? And so, you know, you even talk about that, yeah, and Vince the Jeeper shows up, you know? I would miss all that. So, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you, bro. I'm glad to be here.
I am glad you're here. I'm glad you're here.
Glad you're here too.
And I am glad you're here, and I will throw my pen at you to make you smile. So I saw you getting down over there. I mean, to be honest with you, this is a tough topic. This really is. This is a hard topic to get into, and we've been doing this for about 2 hours, over 2 hours now. And, you know, what I want to, so we're going to start bringing this in for Elena, but I do want to let everybody know that, I mean, you got to fight, and there are so many programs, and there are so many people out there. And like Nicole said, you're going to reach out. Look, you can email us, send us a message on Facebook. I mean, you reach out to the We Have the 22 here in Arkansas. You know, I'm sure even whether you're a veteran or not, you're reaching out for help. They're not going to go, you're not a veteran. No, they're going to step on it because they don't want to see nobody hurting either. You know, and of course, the number 4, the We Have the 22 is 855-932-7384. Do you want me to do the other commercial for you?
I just want to say real quick before we land it out, but
Yeah.
our motto in We Are 22 is fighting for the living, living for the fallen.
Yes.
And people with wounds listen to people with scars. So it's very important, if you are struggling, you are not alone. There are people out there who's waiting that will help you, that will guide us to you, who've been where you're at, and want to see you succeed in life. So please do not hesitate to call anytime, day or night. You are not a burden. We are ready, and this is what we do.
Oh, I love that. I love everything you said. That's great. Yeah, and like I said, for sure, like, life is worth living. Reach out. Nothing is so insurmountable that it can't be overcame. So just know that there is, even if it's one person, that one person means a lot. So even if we saved one person in this podcast, like, to me, that's a win. You know what I mean? Because that's one less person that feels what I felt, you know, or one less person that feels the way that y'all have felt, you know, kind of thing.
Well, we're talking about that. So, all right, let me so it just reminded me of something, feeling that way. So if I'd have gone through what I went through last year, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer earlier this year. Okay, so now my wife unfortunately lost her mom in 2019 due to breast cancer, and that affected her, unfortunately, really bad. When my mom got diagnosed at the beginning of this year with breast cancer, me and Talina weren't married yet. And it was, I saw the look on her face, and Talina stepped up and was right there coaching, went to the doctor with my mom, knew the questions to ask, knew everything to ask, and, how to help my mom process to get through some of this stuff already, because she'd already been there. If I'd have died last year, that would have never happened.
Right.
I'm not saying that my mom may have passed. My mom is not cancer free, which is good.
Right.
But, I'm not saying to where my mom would have passed away of cancer if I'd have died, but my mom would have been a lot more miserable. But having me live and having Talina there made my mom's life easier.
Yep.
So on that token, I'm grateful for Talina to be there, and I'm grateful for me to still be here and stuff like that. So there's so many domino effects that people don't realize, to where you're staying here does an impact, and we don't even realize it until we look back and see it. So stay.
Yep.
God, I ran into a guy on Sunday on my way back from Kansas, outside of Ozark. You'll love this one. He had a shirt on, so stay. And I knew what it meant.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dude. So if you're watching this, dude, hey, what's up? I said, I like your shirt. His friend's son didn't make it. So he was wearing that shirt for his friend's son. And I told him about the show, and I told him what I do with this, where I was coming back from, and what this episode, we doing episode stuff. And he got real quick. He goes, really? I said, yeah. He goes, but you're Bigfoot. I said, yeah, but this is close to my heart. I mean, this is a message that needs to be put out there. So yeah, my show is all about Bigfoot and paranormal and UFOs and Wolfman and Dogman and Squirtman and Mole Man, and I could go on and on and on, because I think every animal has a man attached to it. Ant-Man. The what?
Yeah, I was going a whole different direction with that.
I'm saying Squawk Man. I mean, I'm sure there is Squid Man. I mean, I'm sure there's something, Merman, Mermaid. But the thing about it is, so, and he was like, yeah, so I gave him some of our cards and stuff like that. He goes, I'm going to listen to y'all. I'm going to listen to y'all. So if you're listening, dude, hey, it was a pleasure meeting you at the gas station outside of Ozark. I can't remember the name of the town. But I remember the one gas station I went to. Again, this is how God works. Okay, so the first gas station I went to, nothing was working. Everything was shut down. Right? The lady goes, I can't ring you up. I can't do anything. I was like, oh, crap. I'll go, I'll just go to the bathroom. And ran across the instant to the other one. And that's how I ran into him at. And I was like, oh, this is God directing me to this guy. Mm-hmm. So it gets better. And I'm going to say it that way.
Please check in on what you think are the happiest friends and family members you have.
My phone will blow up.
Coworkers, everything. Please check in, because some of them really are that happy, and that's fantastic.
Oh,
Some of them are like me, and it's a mess. So please check in. I don't care if you smile at them, if you send them some weird meme, whatever. Check in, because I promise you, it makes a huge difference in somebody else's life.
And Michael, I'll let you bring it in for a landing. Final thoughts. Thank yous or any of that other stuff, whatever you want to say.
That's great to meet you guys. I hate to have to be under these circumstances, but
Right.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I'm glad some of these circumstances. I mean, because it's just a little bit more bonding that we can do, and we know now, the fight that we need to carry forward. Because there are people out there that need us to fight. And they need to come fight with us. And that's probably what they're looking for. They're looking for us. And this is the best way to get out there.
I'd say anybody out there that has to what you was going through, if you know someone's struggling and you're reaching out, our society has made this a taboo subject. Mm-hmm. And there is nothing wrong with not feeling okay. That is perfectly normal to not feel okay. And I want everyone to stress, if we could start changing society norms where if I'm sitting down with a person that's struggling with suicidal ideations, I'm going to ask him straight up. There are tests that's been shown, a lot of people say that if you ask somebody if they're suicidal, you're putting that idea in their head. That's garbage. That's not true. There are tests that's been proven that. There's evidence on that. That's not true. So if I'm sitting down with someone, I'm struggling, I would say, hey, I just want to make sure we're on the same page here. Are we having thoughts of suicide? There's nothing wrong with saying that word. normalize it, talking about it. When we start taboo and we start making it seem like it's a sin, and we start thinking it's a bad thing to bring up, no one wants to talk about it. And when we don't talk about things, guess what happens? We don't talk no more.
Yep.
So
That's why one of my biggest hashtags this month is "It's okay to not be okay."
that's right, 100%.
Yep.
So if you got a person in there, just ask them, hey, just so we're on the same page, are you suicidal? Are you having thoughts of harming yourself? Just ask it, and just be prepared for the answer. A lot of people don't know the answer because they don't know how to respond to the answer that's coming back. Look, it's normal, and we need to start normalizing that.
Yep.
I agree. I like it. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not be okay. Everybody, thank you again for listening to another episode of our Silent Battle 2. Yeah, reach out. You can email us, contact us, and you're not alone. And I can promise, it gets better.
Hey everyone, it's Keegan with Cool's Paranormal Studio. Just wanted to talk to you guys for one quick second regarding a topic that has unfortunately affected a lot of us. And being what month it is, I'm sure you guys know what we're talking about. And I just want to let you guys know, I understand life can get super difficult at times and just feel really dark and like there's nothing ahead of you guys, but just know it does get better. At least in my personal experience, it's always darkest right before the dawn. Always super hard, but it does get better. And if you're ever feeling lost or just like in those dark times, always feel free to reach out to friends or family or anyone, even in these videos or us included. We are always happy to talk to you guys. You are never alone, so always feel free to reach out. Please reach out, don't feel alone.
How's it going, everybody? This is Parachum with Chumming with the Spirits. Just wanted to say that you are loved. There's always someone out there you can talk to. Don't give up. In your time of need, just reach out. There's always someone that's willing to talk, help you through things. I just wanted you to know that you were loved.
Hey there everyone, we're the Cryptids Commandos from Kansas City, Kansas. Just wanted to take some time out to think about mental health. Very important. Remember, you are enough. Suicide's never the answer. If you have any suicidal ideations, be sure to reach out to somebody. There's a lot of professionals that can help you out. See you soon.
Hi, this is my son Jordan. Just want to let you know that somebody always loves you, like I love my son. He's my best friend, somebody I could never be without. Same with you. We need you. We love you. Suicide is never the answer. There's always somebody out there. Just let you know you are loved. You can do it. Anytime.
Hey, this is JD with Chumming with the Spirits from the greater Kansas City area. I want to talk to you about something important, mental health. If you're having problems or struggling, please know there are a lot of people out there that would love to listen to you than to have to carry you. Suicide's never the answer. You're loved, you're cared for, you make the world a better place. Sometimes it may not seem like it. Sometimes you may be the good in the world that somebody else needs as well. So if you're struggling, there are a lot of numbers to reach out to. There are professionals. There are a lot of people that really want you to be around. So take care. Be safe.
Gentlemen, I just want to tell you, it gets better. Much, much better.
What's going on, guys? It's John Methenkamp, host of Mist Monsters and Mullets. When my brother Matthew contacted me and said he was doing this episode, I said, yeah, I want to be involved. A lot of people don't know this, but 10 years ago, I was homeless, without a vehicle, no money, lowest point of my life. And because I chose to reach out and ask for help, I've ended up where I am today. I'm sitting on a deck in a cabin in North Georgia with my beautiful wife, having the time of my life. It does get better. Just reach out. Reach out to Matthew. reach out to me. Reach out to your friends. I know sometimes it feels like you don't have any, but you do. And if you need somebody to talk to, contact me. I love you.